Hi, welcome back. So in this video I'm going to show you without any nonsense, without any faffing around, the approach that I go about shaping a rough ball blank like this. This is the most common shape that we usually, without any bandsaw, we just use the chainsaw to clip the corners. And nowadays, since I have the bandsaw, I just cut the circle. It's much faster, but nevertheless it's the same technique, and I hope this video will help you out on this topic, as I've seen on many YouTube videos, and actually I did get quite a bit of comments asking if I could do this kind of a draw cut, pull cut method, rough shaping method, and show how I go about that. Like I said, I've seen on YouTube videos many just struggle to get nice efficient cuts, and I hope in this video to clarify it a little bit on that, and you will get good information, good tips out of this video, and help you out in your journey to more pleasant, more pleasurable, I think that's the right word, experience on the lathe turning stuff like this. So this is Norway maple. It's not completely dry, but it's not completely wet either, so it's around 22% moisture. So yeah, but before we hop on the lathe, I want to talk a little bit about the grind. Now, you probably know by now that I'm primarily using asymmetric grind on my ball gouges. That is, let me just show you a little bit on close. So longer left wing, shorter right wing. And I did a video, a few videos back actually, on how to hollow without any nonsense. And I've talked about the benefits of asymmetric grind instead of, let's say, long grind, Ellsworth grind, Irish grind, and not sure other names for that kind of grind. But I know this can be intimidating to sharpen, because I do this freehand, and I go step above that. I hold the gouge in my hand like this and manipulate the gouge, and you'll see that on the grinder now in a few minutes. But I want to show you another method that you can use, but it has its drawbacks, and we'll get to that now in just a few seconds. So I'll readjust the camera and we'll set off. Here we are at the grinder. So this lovely unit is Record Power RS BG8. I'll put the model number on the screen. I got this from Peter from Tobi, Slovenia. He's a Record Power dealer for this part of the Europe. Now this is the full speed grinder. I don't like the slow running grinders. I just don't find the need for them, because if I let this one spool up, which does take a little bit, if I turn it on before it gets to full speed, now it's a slow running grinder, and because of the CBN here, which has a lot of weight and momentum, it will go like this for quite a while, and you can do a lot of shaping on this particular speed, let's say. So I don't find the need for a slow running grinders. So on this side I have a 60 grit carbon wheel, I believe, which I use just for rough shaping of the tools. And on this side I have a CBN, which is 100 grit, which is the finest that I would ever go on my tools. People often forget that we are using the power of the lathe to shape the wood. If like we are carvers and we're using like a carving gouge, or we're using like planes, then we are using the power of our bodies, and then you want to have the most sharpest edge that you can possibly have to get the minimum resistance and just glides off easily. But like I said, we're using the power of the lathe, and you don't have to have extremely fine edge on your tools. the lowest that I've ever used was 60 grit to shape my tools when I started, and it worked just fine. On maybe half of my videos, maybe a little bit more, I've used only 80 grit white wheel, and just recently I have this setup and it's just fine. The CBNs are great. They don't you don't wear them down, you don't have to dress them. They work just beautifully. But if you're on a budget, you don't have the budget for buying a CBN, then white wheel 80 grit is just my recommendation. And like I said, I've used finer wheels, but I just haven't noticed any difference that is to persuade me to buy a finer wheel for any of my turnings. So that's the grinder setup. Now the grind itself, you can see this is the asymmetric grind. It has nice continuous curve, don't have any flat spots whatsoever. And I'm just going to now show you quickly how I sharpen this, and then I'll show you the easier way and the disadvantage of using the easier way. So the way I do it is just bring the gouge above the bevel, raise the handle, and that will drop the gouge down until we find the bevel at the nose, and then I do a little dance with it. Okay, so let me just adjust the focus. So again, you can see nice continuous curve. It's around 42 degree nose angle, and this will get the job nicely. Now to use the platform here. Now the way I would sharpen asymmetric grind on the platform is, so you roughly set up the angle, so around 45 degrees, something like that, and I already have the profile, so continuous curves all the way around, and I'll show you when I got the new gouges how to shape them from the start. So when they are, let's say, standard traditional grind or no long grind, how to reshape them. So for now I'm just going to show you how to resharpen, let's say, and then the reshaping of the very profile I'll show you when I got the new tools. So I find you just want to follow the profile. You don't want to make it flat. Now the disadvantage of using a system like this, like sharpening the 40-40 grind, is you tend to make the wings flatter, not so much the curved. Instead they're much flatter, and that in my case I just prefer the curved wings. So you just have to, with the curved wings, move quite a bit of fast movement, and you don't want to stay in one place for too long. So and you always end up, this is, let's say, your starting position at the very nose, and then you would bring the handle on one side, the other side, a little bit on this side. Now to show you this one. So again, it's a continuous curve all the way around, but sometimes it's a little bit difficult to sharpen because you have to just move so much, but it can be done, and it's a great option as well. So now I'll just remove a little bit of heel here. So now the heel here is removed, and I have a much shorter bevel for the inside. Now I'll just bring you back on the lathe and we'll start off. So here we are at the lathe. So I'm just going to drill a hole for a screw chuck. Turn the lathe on slow. Pop this on. Now I should have done a little better job on making it more flat at the top here, so it will vibrate a little bit, but we'll see if I have to bring the tailstock here. Okay, so here we are all set up. So you can see there is quite a bit of this side is thicker, this one is a little bit thinner, so that will be much more interesting for you to see how to rough shape this. So I did get a few questions on what is the correct speed for this and this timber, and I cannot say you the correct speed for any of the particular blank. There is sort of a formulas, but I don't go about that. I feel that that's too inaccurate. Let's say for every piece of timber that I put on, I reset the speed. So you start slow, you bring the speed up a little bit, and if you're just starting out, don't go above 1000 RPM unless you're turning like a small spindle. But on the ball, you don't have to go any higher than that. So I just bring the speed up until the lathe starts to shake like this. And then I bring the speed down a little bit when the lathe cools down. And that's my running speed at the moment until I get this nice and shored up. And that's around 700 RPM. So we have the pull cuts and the push cuts. So if you're like familiar with the 40-40 grind, the Stuart Batty, he proposed that using only push cut to shape the wood. So it will go something like this, although he would true up the diameter first, but so it will go something like this. Now what I found with that kind of method that doesn't work for me is it's just too slow. Sometimes on a smaller lathe like this one, this is 1 horsepower, you just cannot take too heavy bite in a push cut, where in a pull cut, where you would stand maybe a little bit closer, let's say to the blank, and you would pull the gouge towards you. Again, the pull cut can be done with the left hand turning, like my Mahoney does, which I showed in that video on how to hollow. So you can use it like that as well. But what I found works excellent for me is, so I'm just going to show you this method. So I start with the handle pretty much level. Once you enter the wood, the flute is now let's say 930. Once you enter the wood, drop the handle down to my waist height. Open up the gouge just a little bit to 10 o'clock, and I move in arcs. I scoop out the corner of the blank here. I don't mind truing up the diameter for now. And look how that is effortless. You don't have to fight. My hand is not jumping all over the place. The draw cut won't leave you great surface. It's a roughing cut. It's, in my opinion, the most efficient way to reduce or to get the ball shape, the rough shape. So I can rough down the ball really quickly, and I might even do a video on how long does it take for, let's say, a 10-inch ball, but that's for another video. So again, start with the handle flat-ish, doesn't have to be perfect. Once you enter the wood, because if you're like present at the 10 o'clock, sometimes if you're not experienced enough and you don't anticipate what can happen, it can sort of grab on you. So start with the flute a little bit closed, like 9:30, like this. and the handle is sort of flattish. Drop until it's my waist side, open it up just slightly to 10 o'clock, and now you can squeeze your hand, so do this motion, I'll show it to you. Or you can just drag it like this. I like to use most of the length of the tool rest on this left side, and I can drag my hand on it. So hope you see this quite nicely coming off the tool. So again, you can start flattish, close the flute once you're in the wood a little bit, drop the handle, open the gouge to 10 o'clock. Now there is a lot of shavings here. Again, scoop out the wood. Now here and on the bottom, I've seen a lot of people preaches that you just have to do it by this way. The way I'm showing you now is my way of turning bowls. By any means, it's not the only way, and that's the beauty of the wood turning, is that we have the multiple ways of doing the same stuff and get to the same finish line. So now, once I remove the corner here, I'm not quite true here. I hope you can see my finger is quite wobbly. Here it's nice and steady. So I can bring the speed up a little bit more. So that's now running at almost 900 RPM. So the way I like to true up the rim here is just go straight in like this. Again, same position. Not sure if I mentioned this is a 1/2 inch diameter bowl gouge, 12 mil. Now there is other downside, let's say, to sharpening on the platform like this. It tends to be just a little bit more grabby than when I do it by hand. So true up here, and then you can make a nice push cut, shear cut to the middle. And now that's nicely, perfectly cut surface here. And now we can focus here on the rim. So again, to start here, I want to make a nice draw cut and make the this true again here, because as I'm doing that, I already envision a bowl shape, or start to make a bowl shape. I don't like to like, unless it's something specific, or I make a box or anything like that which has to have a like biggest diameter, then I would true the diameter first, through the top side and the bottom side, and then you have your squared blank. But in this case, I want to get the shape done as quickly as possible. So again, I'll start from the bottom here. Just to get rid of the shavings. Now I'm actually into push cut. It's the nature of the movement. I'll start here with the draw cut, like so. Now at this point, I'm starting to transfer to a push cut. So you'll see here, it's mostly cut cleanly on the rim side. Here it's much rougher, and here the top needs a little bit trimming up. So here I don't want to bring the gouge way down. I keep it more flattish and more closed. I don't want to grab here because it has the tendency to catch it over. And take the sharp edge off here. So now I'll try to show you a little bit more broader view of shaping. So we have now roughly a bowl shape, and that resembles a bowl at least. So I need the size of the foot here roughly, so that should be okay. And now we can, from that point, make a nice transition into curve here. Now sometimes depends on the bowl, the size, and what I'm trying to do after with it. I can leave another step here like so, and that leaves me a possibility to do something here later once the bowl is dry. But we're going to finish this bowl completely, so I'll actually make smaller foot. Somewhere around here. And now from this point up to this point, make a nice curve using again the draw cut. So it's a nice effortless way to remove a lot of wood quickly, and I can even do it with one hand. It does need a little weight here. So it's not perfectly like smooth cut because I was playing here and doing nonsense. So now I can make nice clean cut with the push cut. Now once the bowl is completely chewed up, we can bring the speed up. On this size of bowl, maybe 1200 RPM. That's comfortable for me. If you're just starting out, then more than 1000 is not necessary. And now for the push cut, I only have to do push cut cleanly once. For if you're going to like shape the bowl, then you have to do it perfectly every time, because if you're not doing it right, then you can get like this kind of vibrations which are not pleasant on your hands. So and I'm not pushing onto bowl, I'm keeping my weight of my left hand and trying to keep the tool pinned down to the rest. Just clean up the shavings. And here on the very top, just go lightly. And I always like to go like this so I don't break out. So in this case, when I remove that little frail material going like this, I gouge it a little bit. So to make this continuous curve, find the bevel or the curve here, just rubbing it a little bit, and bring the handle towards you like this as you're doing it, and just little by little until you see the shavings fly off. And this is my cut now, and now I just want to continue on. Like so. So now you can see there is zero tear out. the shape is pretty much there. Although I like to finish it with the scrapers, I feel that I have a little bit more control over the final shape. Now, and this is a kind of a skillful cut. It takes a few hundred of cuts, let's say, to master the nicely push cut done like this. So what I'll just do is use a scraper just to refine this corner here. This is a shear scraper with a screwdriver rolled burr. Today the words just don't come out of my mouth. And there was a sort of a, how should I say this, not a study, but like a belief that if you're scraping the wood, then you're not a proper turner. And I always remember, I mean, Richard Raffan, the one of the best turners out there, scrapes the wood. And if you master the scraper properly, I mean, you can get such a beautiful result sometimes that it's so easy to manipulate the perfect curve on the outside and the inside that it's just joy to use. So I'll just show you the scraper flat, although this is a gouge video, but so that's okay. Here I was a little too rough. And if you hear the humming sound, that means I'm pushing it a little too hard. And the shavings that I get is, and the dust is this kind of lovely fluffy stuff. So let me now just show you the surface straight from the scraper, and you tell me if you see any difference on the camera. And let me just tell you, in person, this is, I mean, and that's flat. I still have the option of getting it a little bit more smoother if I tilt it up on edge, but this is way too fine. I mean, and it's really low effort, but obviously you have a learning curve with the scraper as well. The touch is, I believe, the most important thing, and how you raise the burr, and I have several videos on that as well. So let me just shear scrape this. And that's the outside done. It's really effortless, especially if you're making like this green bowls. So this video will be sort of a hodgepodge of everything. So here is a little scraper that I've done. Just curious to see how it will scrape. Usually on the wet timber it does good job. I made this for a specific job that I have to do. So let me start somewhere, I don't know, here. Yeah, that's actually quite nicely scraped. So just continue on. Now this scraper I made with angle grinder, I found the right diameter disc, so it has a little curve on the top. Let me just actually show you. Try to focus it, oops, without destroying the camera setup. And I grind it like this way. So you make your own tools when you have to. And this is, like I said, for a specific job. So it's a good way to test it now. So this is slightly curved, so I can rock it back and forth. And I have a little fray on this side here, which I'll have to clean up with the spindle gouge in between. Now the question is where to stop with these. Should I stop before the rim or should I go up to the rim? So here on the top, what I'll do is just use a scraper and push it down a little bit so the beads are a little bit proud. And I hope this video will help you out with roughing out the bowls. And there is other tips like this, cutting these beads and scraping, I hope. I'm just trying to project the curve as well. Okay, I think that's it. And now what I'll do is just cut the tenon and I'll flip this around. You'll see actually the outside will look better. Okay, so here is the outside of the bowl. You can see it's nicely done. Cut the foot here. Now I'll just hollow this out. I'll put the camera on time lapse. You've seen done this multiple times, so. And by the way, I'll use the same gouge we used with sharpen, so. Okay, so that's the inside done, and it's not particularly thin, but it's a nice, useful bowl once it's dried. And okay, so here is the end bowl, and you can see what I've done actually is extended to the foot these beads, and I still have to sand this a little indentation here in the middle, but the inside is done. It's all sanded just with the 180 a little bit, so it just cleans up any from the gloves, the little like when I grind the scraper, so little dust of metal, and you can see nice even beads all the way down to the foot. Now I need to blow out the dust in between, but you can see it's all nicely cut, and it actually feels so good in the hands. And now I have to wait to warp it. I won't put it in a microwave, and it will sit in the house, and I'll probably use it after for a salad or something. So I hope this video was full of tips and tricks for you, and how to efficiently, without any nonsense, make a outside of the ball rough shape, at least as quick as possible without much damage to your hands. And yeah, and I hope you like this video, and if you like this kind of videos with tips and tricks in it, let me know, and I'll try to do my best for more. And yeah, really like this one.